Come closer, traveler. The night is long. The fire will warm our hands, and words will warm our hearts. Tonight, I will tell you a story that few remember, and no one can say whether it is truth or mere legend. A story about how important it is to simply see. Long ago, when the world was young and humans were just beginning to understand their power, there lived a girl named Quovrebe in a small village. She was quiet as a snowy forest and as unnoticed as the summer wind. No one paid attention to her as she came and went. No one listened to her words. No one sought her advice. Even the dogs did not stir when she passed by. You are like a shadow, people told her. But Quovrebe simply remained silent and watched the world with eyes as deep as a midnight lake. She had one special ability. She could see what others could not. She saw how stones whispered to each other about the passage of time, how trees remembered those who had touched their bark, how people's words lingered in the air, swirling like birds before fading away. As a child, she tried to speak of these things, but people only laughed at her. So, as she grew older, she stopped talking about what she saw. She understood that people preferred to ignore anything that fell outside the boundaries of their ordinary lives. Then, one day, misfortune came to the village. People began to disappear. A hunter would leave in the morning and never return. A woman would go to fetch water and vanish into the morning mist. The best trackers searched for them but could not find a single trace. No one understood what was happening. No one knew how to bring back the lost or prevent more disappearances. The elders gathered, deliberated, and decided to call upon a shaman. A shaman lived in those lands, and they sent for him. He arrived 3 days later. The shaman was young, just beginning his path. He listened to the tundra around the village, watched the clouds. He lit a great fire, beat his drum, and called upon the spirits. But the spirits were silent. The villagers began whispering among themselves, doubting the shaman's abilities. Suddenly the shaman turned and said, "Someone in this village sees more than the rest. Let that person step forward." People exchanged glances, but no one moved. Only Quovrebe took a step forward. "I see," she said softly. "What do you see?" the shaman asked. "There are threads in the air," she answered. "When a person walks, a silver thread stretches behind them. But the threads of the lost are severed. Someone is cutting them." The people murmured anxiously. "Where are the threads breaking?" asked the shaman. "There, by the stone that looks like a wolf's head." The shaman walked toward the stone, and Quovrebe followed him. They stood before it when she spoke again. "This is no ordinary evil spirit. This is a hungry spirit. It devours memories of people. It takes their images, their footprints, their voices. That is why they vanish." The shaman closed his eyes and heard a faint weeping. The spirit was near. The shaman took a handful of a rare herb that grows only where sunlight never touches the ground and threw it into the fire. "Show yourself," he commanded. And then they saw it. It was not human, not beast, not even truly a spirit. It was emptiness shaped like a person. It had no face, for all the faces it had stolen had disappeared. It had no voice, for all the words it had consumed had become silence. "You are lonely," Quovrebe said. The spirit flinched. "You steal faces to fill your emptiness, but it never becomes less, does it?" The spirit did not answer. Then Quovrebe took a step forward and reached out her hand. "I see you," she said. The spirit screamed. No one had ever seen it before. It had been nothing but a shadow, living in oblivion. But now, before it stood a person who did not fear it, who did not banish it, but simply saw it. "I will give you an image," Quorube said, "not stolen, but given." She removed the fur hat from her head and placed it on the spirit. And for the first time, it had a form. It was no longer emptiness. It had become someone. From that day on, the spirit no longer stole people away. It wandered the tundra, but now it had a name. It was recognized, and it was no longer forgotten. And Quorube became the first among the seers. She was not a shaman. She did not chant incantations. She did not call upon the spirits, but she saw the world as it truly was. And ever since then, we shamans have known. Sometimes it is not power, not magic, and not weapons that save people, but simply the ability to see what others do not. That is the story, traveler. The fire is dying down, and the night blankets the world in darkness. But if you open your eyes wider, you will see. This world is not as simple as it seems. Are you ready to see?